Hello everyone, welcome to my vlog. So we have Saturday morning. It's pretty ugly weather in Calgary, so all my shoots unfortunately got cancelled today, so I have a little bit of time to do a short vlog. So today's vlog, I would like to dedicate it and talk a little bit about social media. Again, those are the things which are big part of our business today. And before I'll jump into some of my observations about social media and how the social media have changed over the last few years, I just want to say that all the opinion what I have and all the stuff what I would like to share with you is based on my own experiences. So I definitely would like to hear your feedback about some of those things, because I'm sure those things are sometimes very highly controversial, and sometimes people simply don't agree with me. So I definitely would like to kind of hear the other side of the story, and if anyone has I would say own experiences and I would say own observation about what is really happening with social media these days, I would definitely would like to hear any comments and just basically have this conversation open, because I'm really also interested how other photographers deal with those things, and then what's their feelings about what is really going on. So let's jump into the actual topic. So as you probably guys know, the social media is a huge part of our life, our business. I can't even imagine having any type of business these days without having social media. It's a huge part, and there's no escape from it. There is no I would say shortcuts. I'm guessing, and the way I see it, that every year it's becoming more and more difficult to, I would say, have really solid presence on social media, because there's so many things happening recently which we have to somehow take in consideration to make this whole thing work. So I think social media is it's exactly like any other aspect of our life. Everything is, I would say, evolving and is changing constantly. So we have to somehow adopt to it. We have to change the way we approach how we deal with social media, how we post stuff, what we post, when we post it. So there's a lot of stuff which we have to, I would say, look from much broader perspective. And let me give you an example. Like, I remember back in the days when you guys receiving emails. So like when this whole thing, I would say, come up to existence, and we could send emails to people, and we were receiving emails, like we were so excited, like that was something like, oh my god, I got an email. Where today, like, I don't want to say nobody cares, but like most of those emails what we're receiving, it's a spam, or someone is advertising something, or it's something where it doesn't excite us as much as used to be before. Not to mention that it's becoming like part of our life, that we don't even think about it. We're receiving the email and we're just checking and replying, or we just deleting or blocking, whatever. And I think the same thing is happening to social media. The things which used to excite us a lot, today actually we completely change approach to it. So when it comes to, I would say, my personal life and my business, over the last few years, I've noticed I started really removing my personal life from social media. I'm focusing mostly on my business, and everything what I put out there is related to business, but it seems like most of us is doing the same. So there's two kind of sides of this story, that we try to kind of keep and then use social media as some kind of advertising platform for our business, and once in a while I basically post something you know, which is related to my family and to my private life. But I found that you know, it's something which I'm trying to kind of like, you know, keep it private, because you know, it's my life, and I don't want to too much expose what is going on in my life. And well, this is something what I would like to keep for myself. I know there are different people, and you know, there are people who basically share everything, what they eat, where they've been, you know, what they've been doing on a daily basis. But I found this is something which, like, I'm not saying I don't have interest into this, but if I will see posts where, you know, someone is posting, you know, what they had for dinner, or you know, what kind of coffee they had, I don't really care, and I'm not going to be just, you know, religiously checking what they're doing, because like I have so much stuff in my life that I don't have really time to, you know, checking on people who well, what they're doing in their life. And you know, if they have really, I would say, posts which are boring and there's nothing for me, I'm just basically, okay, you know what, this is I'm not having any interest. And the sad part of this is that I've noticed from my experience, I really started well, how I can describe this, like, I'm not going and checking social media what other people do. Like, I found this is a waste of time. This is something which you know, like I think there's so much other important things to do. So like sitting on social media and just checking what other people do, like I don't really care sometimes. Like, you know, there are people and there are things which are interest me, that's where I go. But majority of the time where I spend on social media, I'm just trying to kind of communicate with people, or you know, doing a business and stuff like that. But I don't really have time to, you know, scrolling through like endless amount of pages to kind of see what other people do. But the way I see it, you know, other people probably do the same thing, and they don't really have any interest what I do. So that's becoming something which is, I would say, interesting, that we actually are focusing ourselves and what we do, but we don't really pay attention what other people do. There are definitely some, you know, interesting pages and people who you know, they share amazing stuff, and that's where I'm kind of going towards. But as you probably know, there's a lot of garbage on social media, and filter those things sometimes is not really easy. Another thing what I've noticed, and it is really, I would say, frustrating for me, that some of those major social media platforms become some kind of advertising platforms, where you know, people who pay money and people who actually I don't know, they basically try to push the message out. They buy those paid advertisement, and you know, we see those stuff all the time. And I'm not saying that really pisses me off, but I think that you know, especially I found Facebook, like every second post what I see is some kind of advertisement related to what I do. And what is also really I found interesting, that you know, I'm trying to kind of block sometimes some of those things which you know, I've seen it and I don't have any interest to it. So you know, I want to just kind of get this off my face. But I realized after a couple days, Facebook just keep putting those stuff back. So even if I block those things and I don't want to see it, that doesn't really matter. Facebook just keep pushing this stuff on my face. And that's something which I think becoming really frustrating for most of us, because you know, it seems like some of those huge I have to say social media platforms, they want us to see what they basically decided, you know, what we want to see. And that's something which I'm really frustrated, and then sometimes really again pisses me off, because you know, like I don't really want to see the same ad over and over again. So the social media also, I found, you know, like we definitely started over the last few years communicating completely different way. The stuff which we used to do, we don't do them anymore, and that's seems like the social media platforms, they're going through like massive transformation, and then, you know, we are changing and we consuming some of those things completely different way. Another thing what I've noticed that, you know, the way those social media platforms work, they want us to spend as much time as possible on them. From one hand, you know, like of course that's what they want to do, but I have to say for myself that sometimes, you know, from our end, is such a waste of time that, you know, we could do some, you know, really creative stuff and then really interesting things, instead, you know, watching, you know, useless things which doesn't really add to anything to our business and to our life. So that's another interesting factor which I've noticed. And the last thing what I would like to talk about is, and I'm sure you guys heard about it, but you know, like I've been noticing those things constantly, and I'm not saying I'm frightened of this. I'm feeling that, you know, I'm also getting somehow affected by this whole thing, but I have noticed that, you know, we're really becoming addicted to you know, social media. It's again, I understand it's big part of our life, but like amount of time we spend on it is absolutely crazy. I was actually driving to downtown of Calgary recently, and I had to take like a little short train trip like inside the downtown core, and I got on the C train. That's how we don't have a subway, we have C trains. I've noticed everyone was on the phone, like every person who was sitting you know, inside had the cell phone, and it was just like glued to it. And you know, young people, you know, older people, like everyone on that train was glued to the social media, and it's something which, like, I was just blown away. I'm sure most of you guys have the same experiences, that, you know, we becoming those, I would say, addicted human beings to our devices, and you know, like it's really hard to sometimes communicate with people, like, you know, basically not even like, you know, sitting on the train. I would say like someone is sitting right beside me, and, you know, like I would like to have a quick conversation, just there's no way, because they just glue it to the phone and they just look at you like you'd be out of your mind. But also what I've noticed that most of the communications we have today, everything goes through social media. I'm trying my best whenever I have new client, or I have, you know, someone I need to talk to, I prefer to use the cell phone and just call them and talk to them, or meet them, or, you know, just do something where I can have that I would say normal type thing of communicating, where I can hear that person and we can talk, because that gives us completely different, I would say, feeling about like communicating. But unfortunately, we're getting to the point where everything actually becoming that digital way of communicating, and I think it's really sad, because let's say we have thousands of friends on Facebook, and, you know, thousands of followers on Twitter, but, you know, I would say getting to the point that we have less and less, you know, one-on-one conversation where we can actually speak face to face, because everything, you know, becoming just the kind of connections where everything is on those platforms, social media, where it's a completely, I would say, you know, different way of communicating. You know, it seems like that sometimes what happens, there's even miscommunication, because if you have, let's say, on Twitter 140 characters you can use, and you can just send a message out, those words, they don't show emotions, they don't show what exactly we want to say. We can't even explain different way if someone doesn't understand. people take things the way they want it. So that's becoming some kind of like a, well, it's interesting to see that, and that's, I'm sure also you guys have noticed that a lot of people basically they argue on social media, because the communication, I think, become that, I would say, different type of communication. Because if you talk to someone one-on-one, you're a completely different person, and then the conversation look completely different. And on social media, I realize, you know, there is no boundaries, there's no breaks. People just go full speed into, you know, hurting some people, or abusing them, or using like bad language. There's completely different way of communicating. So I just definitely something to think about it. I just definitely want to share about that with you guys, because I'm sure most of you guys experiencing the same thing, and that's something which again, it's becoming a little bit frightening for me, because I have a little son who is actually growing up, and I see little kids with their cell phones already just, you know, checking some stuff. And I'm not saying that the social media is a bad thing, because there's a lot of positive things coming out of it. That's, I would say, topic for another vlog, because I've been talking for a little bit. But I want to share some of those experiences, what I'm having, seeing what it's happening, and I would like to hear your opinion. Please write a comment, send me a message. I always love to hear from you guys. And in conclusion, I don't really know the solution for this, because this whole thing is something which I don't think we can really control. I think there's definitely need to speak up about those things, and hopefully everyone can actually make some adjustment in their own life to make this happen. And I've done them the same. Like, I'm trying to definitely put a little bit of boundaries on how much time I spend on social media, and how much time I spend online, and then checking stuff out. And I'm really thinking about whenever I'm getting into that mode that you just, you know, checking one page after another, and you just started seeing useless and stupid stuff. They seems funny, and they seem sometimes, well, it's kind of cool to see them, but they don't really do anything to us. Okay, I could go on and on about it, so like, I don't want to really start repeating myself, because I don't think that's well, you guys probably not gonna listen to this anyway. So again, let me know what you think. I would like to wish you guys fantastic weekend. I would love to hear from you guys, and have a fantastic photo shoots in the upcoming days, and I'll chat with you guys very soon. So stay tuned, and thank you again for listening. Well, my stuff which I would like to which I'm trying to share with everyone. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll chat with you guys very soon. Bye bye.